all reviews, 'cause I'm better off now, better off now. I'm better off now without you. I'm got some toy that you can use, and when you come back I'll refuse, 'cause I'm better off now, better off now. I'm better off now without you. I'm got some toy that you can use, and when you come back I'll refuse, 'cause I'm better off now, better off now.
Hello, and good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you might be in the world. Well, my friend, it's going to be one of those days. I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you exactly what I mean. Right now, we're about 15 minutes late in starting our wonderful stream. And here's what happened. When you start doing these streams on your own by yourself, I'm turning down the music just a little bit because it's a little loud. You are on your own in many ways. Well, I guess in every way, you're on your own. Because you have to get the lights, you have to get a good camera, nice microphone, the right software, another computer, because one computer really has to go to streaming. So, we have very nice equipment for audio. This is our microphone. We have good recording equipment for our podcast. But going live on the web, on a stream, means you need to have a lot of other pieces to fall in place. And this is not professional. We're not making any money on this. But you still have to get the equipment in order to stream and try to look good. Now, a lot of the built-in cameras to a lot of the Macs previously have very bad cameras. They don't look good. They're very fuzzy. So you want to get a good camera. And there are lots of them that are out there that are good prices. And Logitech makes a couple good ones. I have a couple of Logitech cameras. We use this camera, which is the Logitech Screen Cam, throughout the entire pandemic. Zoom meetings, teaching, worked wonders. Quite a lovely piece of equipment. Well, you start a stream and you think, well, we can do a little bit better than that. There are better cameras out there. So we got the Logitech Brio, which is a little step up. This stream cam is about, I don't know, maybe $100. on sale somewhere. Well, the Brio, which is supposed to be a little fancier, about 13 megapixels, I think. It's about $179. But at the time of the pandemic, you couldn't get a Brio anywhere because they were all sold out, because people were going online. So we got the Brio, and it was okay. I thought it kind of looked the same as the Stream Cam, but it connects with USB 2 or 3, so it gives you a little bit more options. So I thought, well, we had to buy some lights. We have LED lights here. We have regular lights just from the room. And I thought, well, we could get a better camera that's not going to cost us $2,500, because the pro streamers have DSLR cameras, which are like regular cameras, that now have streaming capability. You can plug in to a camera into your computer, and you have the most beautiful professional looking screen. That's $2,500. So I thought, what can we do that gives you kind of the same feature set for a lot less money? And this is where I got into trouble, because since I received and paid for this new GoPro Hero 10, $400 direct from GoPro, nothing but trouble. Doesn't really work, overheats, it pauses, it doesn't want to connect to my Wi-Fi, it turns on. I was so happy to have this, because the megapixels on this I think are 26. So this should theoretically give us twice as good camera feature as the Logitech Brio. So in our test last Friday and our first stream yesterday, we were streaming with this. And this is not necessarily meant to be a webcam, but GoPro realized we were in a pandemic, and they said, well, you know, we could create a webcam version of this. So they do it with software. It is available on Mac. It plugs into your computer, and it turns this little thing into a webcam. Or at least theoretically it's supposed to turn it into a webcam. Until you're ready to go, do a live stream today, your second live stream. And there's an error message that says the webcam is paused. And you start panicking because there's no image, there's no picture. So you go online, you look it up. Why is my GoPro Hero 10 freezing up? And all kinds of reasons. Your SD card is malfunctioning. The GoPro 10 is overheating. The GoPro 10 can't connect to Wi-Fi, which is very true. It really never connects to Wi-Fi, which is a really important part of the whole thing. And on the iPhone app, oh, maybe you need to do an update. Well, you can't really update your Hero 10 if it doesn't connect to Wi-Fi or Bluetooth and doesn't connect to your phone. Now, it does sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. And you go online and you read what people are saying. Well, you take out the battery, you put the battery back in, you turn off the network. None of it works. So that's what I've been doing for the last half hour, is turning everything off, unplugging everything, plugging everything back in, and now our main cam, if you can see me, is our Logitech Brio. And I guess we just should have stayed with that from the beginning. And we would have saved ourselves $400. So how was your day? That was the start of my day, panicking, running around thinking, are we going to have a stream today or not? And for some reason, the internal camera on my iMac is on and looking at me, even though I don't have it set up to do anything anywhere. And I'm going to blame it on my GoPro Hero 10. Even though I have no evidence that that's what caused it, but I also have no evidence that it didn't cause it. look at that. Okay, now, so we're using this in photo mode, I guess. That's what they call it. I don't know. I've had it for 3 days. You can see the Brio camera. Isn't that sweet? Kind of elongated. It's becoming my new best friend. Because I have no other choice. So what I wanted to show you yesterday is how interesting it is to stream. We stream on 3 places live. Twitch. Boles Books is the username. We stream on YouTube live right now. Go to YouTube/Boles Blues and you'll see this stream. And we also stream live on Facebook. Go to Facebook/BOLES Boles. There's the live stream. And eventually, if things work out well for us, as I understand it, with Twitch, is they're going to demand that we only stream on Twitch if we're an affiliate or a partner? I don't know. It's going to take us a year or two, perhaps get there. And that's fine. But that means we'll have to stop streaming on YouTube or Facebook. But what concerns me is this. Twitch, owned by Amazon, a lot of money, they do not offer closed captioning of live streams, or even streams after they've been recorded and published, they don't close caption. Facebook and YouTube both offer closed captioning for the deaf and the disabled. And it's really quite wonderful. It's automatic. It processes as part of the recorded event and becomes accessible and available to everyone in the world who wants to read the English captions. So that's going to be an eventual concern if we are going to be limited in the future to only streaming on Twitch, is how to continue to include our deaf and other disabled viewers who are going to be a very important part of this stream. So my Logitech Brio webcam is peeking at me, and it's kind of hovering back and forth, teetering back and forth, because I have this thing set up to screw into the back of my iMac. So the Brio is going like this. But I'm going to move the Brio just a little bit to show you what I could not show you yesterday, because I didn't know that the camera wasn't on, even though it was working. I have to turn it on so you can see it. And this is what I see just to my left while we are streaming. And it is this live stream on Twitch on my television. Now this is mind-bending. 20 years ago, 10 years ago, how could it be possible that you could be live streaming here and then turn your head and watch it on a slight delay? There you are, on a great big television. I'm going to show you now. I'll also show you our LEDs. Oh, now if we get this connected, I'll come right back. Oh my, I'm getting nervous. Okay, so there's our lighting rig. There's the time. There's our other lighting rig. There's a wonderful creative art heart from, you guessed it, the beautiful Janna Marie. And this is what I'm seeing. If it will come into focus. Isn't that wonderful? That is my live stream. Playing on my television, playing through Twitch. And it's a little bit behind because there's a lag, there's a delay in processing. But I tell you, it's wild to be sitting here and to have yourself talking to you just a couple of feet away. It's the wonder of technology. Or maybe it's the curse of technology. I don't know. Okay, did you hear that beeping? I have no idea what that was or what that meant or where it came from. I think it came... I thought it came from my new webcam, my Brio, but I don't think that was it. I think it was coming from the GoPro Hero 10. Turning itself off. I think that's what it was doing. Oh, now my mute thing is all messed up. This took me 15 minutes to get straight. And I've managed to bollocks it all up again. But hey, what else do we have to do? It's a Tuesday. Okay? I think that's all right. All right, well, that was a 15-minute rant. And I'm not done with this. We'll talk about this as the day continues. Now, if you were with us yesterday, we had a brief conversation about the University of Nebraska Cornhuskers. And I shared what I thought about the team and what the problem was and how the entire ego is invested in the football team. And that ego belongs to the entire state of Nebraska. And some thought it was a little harsh. Some thought it was perhaps a bit of a betrayal for a son of Nebraska to speak that way about Nebraska football. Well, here I am. As I told you, I would show off my colors. Every year, Janna Marie and I purchase the official jersey of the day from the university. And this is this year's jersey. See this? Reflective. Go outside. People are looking to run down someone from Nebraska. Right there. Shows them right where you are. Now, here's my critique of this jersey. These jerseys are not cheap. They are expensive. They are not the official jersey, although that's what they claim to be. These are not what the players wear on the field. And of all the jerseys we have, this is the most comfortable to wear, but also the most unsophisticated. Because, okay, this, the Big Ten logo is just like the rubber screen printing. Usually it's a patch that's sewn on. This, Adidas, of course, sewn, really nice. This, NU, which is not what Nebraska is known to be at all, looks like the Oklahoma logo, is also a rubber iron-on. As you can see, the camo, I don't know if it's dyed, but it's not sewn, but it's in there. And finally, the number is not sewn. It's a rubber decal. Now, all of that's fine, but if you're looking for an authentic jersey that they wear on the team, this is not it. In previous years, it's been a little bit closer. The numbers are sewn on, and I'll wear one day to show you. The patches that say Nebraska, I don't think this one even has a Nebraska patch. Circular, sewn on, very nice, high quality. However, they are difficult to wear. If you don't wear an undershirt underneath it, it's very scratchy because all of that sewing and all those numbers scratches your gentle skin. So this is very soft, very easy to wear. But this is of lower value than what last year's was, in my opinion. Because the quality of the material, the quality of the patches is not great. Now that name patch that I showed you before, that's very nice and sewn on. That's how they usually are. So I don't know why the rest of the shirt got degraded in that way. So we've had a rant and an explanation. And for the rest of the day, we're maybe going to play a little bit of really bad chess. I'm a little disappointed because the chess is really bad. I don't know if I'm nervous. I don't know if I'm not thinking straight on live stream. But usually I do better than I've been doing so far. And I know that doesn't mean a lot. We're going to discuss writing and how you construct a script for a podcast. And then we're going to have a brief little tutorial with Janna Marie as she teaches us very basic level, very simple stuff, a few colors in American Sign Language. And then we're going to take a larger picture of how you construct a television series using Aristotle's Poetics And we're going to apply that to Squid Game. That's coming up later. So right now, let's take a look at our podcast script. We discussed this briefly yesterday, and now we'll look at it today. We read this yesterday. This is the intro from the old man in Squid Game, actor Oh Young-soo. And this is also another quote from the same person that's going to end our podcast. So now what we have to do is write the in-between. And this can be challenging, but my best advice for you, if you're trying to write something dramatic or a term paper or a legal brief, is just to sit down and get a first draft done. Write it as best you can, as fast as you can, so you have something from which you can then extend, support, change, and modify. And that's what we're going to attempt to do together today live on the stream, is we're going to write the podcast for Human Me. This is the podcast page. These are some of our previous episodes. All right, so the idea of this podcast is rewarding obnoxiousness. And unfortunately in America, that's what's happening today. We see that in previous presidencies. We see this on television everywhere. We see it on the streets. We see it in the subways. And how did we get here? And that's probably a really good way to start. So we begin with a quote from the Korean actor in Squid Game. So we'll start by pondering that initial question. And usually because we're America-based, that's the point of view from which we take it, although we do try to be all-encompassing, worldwide, and about human compassion. So, it's always good to ask a question. So we're beginning with that quote from the actor, and so we have to address that quote from the actor. How does a modern life compare to that of which Oh Young-soo speaks? Recently, on a train, in Pennsylvania, a woman was raped and assaulted and was not helped by others riding the train with her. Why was that terrible act not then acted upon in a serious way? So these are the questions that adhere to us. They stick to our soul. They remain delicate within us, like tar on a rice paper shack. And it is our moral duty to try to figure out what went wrong and why it went so wrong. Okay, so we've set the table. Terrible things are happening. Obnoxiousness is happening. And now our duty is to try to figure out what's going on. Now I put in 3 slashes because that's assigned to me when I'm reading this script, recording it. I should pause, catch my breath, because we're taking a new beat. We're going in a different way. Okay, so we've set the table. Now, why does this happen? And I have notes down here. Bad behavior begins, conflict, television, worst of us, why watch, what's in it. Okay, so all of that's good. So I'm trying to think the best way to start to address this. And it begins with devaluing. Okay, so we start with this. We have devalued the extent of the human condition by becoming numb to what we do not recognize and what we do not care to acknowledge. So, what is the human condition? And when I'm reading my script, I sometimes bold certain phrases so I know to emphasize them. Or if they're tricky words that sometimes I trip over and don't pronounce correctly, I will bold that as well to say, right here, slow this down. Say it slower, don't rush. There's no rush. Now, what is the human condition? That is a very difficult topic that's very interesting to explore. And one of my mentors at Columbia University, Howard Stein, taught me playwriting, was also my very good friend, would yell at us in class, passionately, not angrily, that life is about this human condition. And he was much older than us, wiser than us, smarter than all of us in the room. And he did not know what the human condition was. People talk about it, but what does it mean? And he wouldn't tell us because that wasn't for him to tell. That's for the rest of us to figure out. But he did say that the human condition is the most important thing you have to think about for the rest of your days. And so, in this live stream and in our Human Being podcast, that's what we try to do. We try to figure out what's going on. What is this moral dilemma, this moral duty, this human condition of which we speak? So how do we become numb? That's what we have to answer. We become numb to violence and insolence and uncaring by our exposure to negative cultural elements. Yes, memes. Now, you remember what a meme is? A meme is short for memetic, invented by the genius Richard Dawkins. A meme is how information travels from one person to another, how we learn. I have information, I share it with you, you might turn around and share it back with me. Or, I give it to you, you give it to somebody else, somebody else, somebody else, somebody else, somebody else. And we create what I like to call the golden circle of learning, which is passing around information that stays the same, does not change, just like the truth, until it comes back around. In our culture, and in our society, in our national culture, and in our world society, bad behavior is not only tolerated, but celebrated. We watched the world burn on TV from the safety of our homes, and we wonder, how would we react if we were there on the ground? And then we forget about that moral dilemma because the events before our eye do not immediately impact. I was going to say effect, but impact is better. Do not immediately impact the status of our bodies. Now I'm using Google Docs to write this, and Google Docs always likes the plural. I don't, so ignore. Three slashes. Pause. Okay. Reality television blurs the line between good people and awful instinct. The scripted series tend to bend us toward immorality and uncaring for the love of others. Instead of enjoying these terrible shows that demonstrate bad behavior, we should be protesting against them. But we do not. We prefer the irrelevance of our lives pitted against the exciting but inhuman spectacle that has become our entertainment. Blood, killing, yelling, running from the law. They have all been promoted and primed to become the default behavior on television and entertainment. And we are all worse off for that sort of unending bloodletting. Is it too late to save us from our own immoral delusions? Have we crept too far over the edge to find our way morally home again? If we begin to question what we see and to act upon the bad decisions of others, I believe, and this is my podcast, so I do use I believe we can rise to the moment and find a good way to set right the basic human instinct to do the right thing in every circumstance. Pause, pause, pause. That task might be easy because there is money in the bad, there is victory in the lie, and there is resurrection in the cunning events against living in harmony together as a people. Tap, tap, tap. Alright, so let's see. Bad behavior begins. Drama is about conflict, but not manufacturing television. Encouraging the races by watching the press. Okay. Aristotle taught us we learn by imitation. That includes learning bad behavior and being cruel and insulting to others. That not only demeans them, but beckons us to a lower calling. Okay, bad behavior, conflict, right. Okay, so conflict. Conflict is what keeps the drama alive. But conflict does not always have to be negative. Conflict can be a way to bring about positive, good change that resonates in a humming world that hums against a good tune and reverberates with the cruel. And normally if I were just writing this, I'd leave all these spelling errors in there because I'm just trying to go, go, go. But because we're working together, I feel a responsibility to try to clean it up. Okay, manufacture for TV, encouraging the race with my watch. If we watch the bad behavior, it is only to assuage our fears and confirm that we, the unspoken, are more virtuous and delightful than the people we watch on television. If we stop watching, if we stop engaging in and encouraging the cruelty, it will stop happening because it will no longer be profitable to broadcast. Okay. Yeah. So, what's in it for us? We need to make good behavior a reward. We need to see righteous and positive change around us in order to include it within us. Yes, the power of change is ours. We do not have to choose to be obnoxious or mean or disingenuous. We can simply decide to mirror and imitate the joy we want to become and the happiness we want to spread. So, yes, my human being friend, we go right into that, which you already had written, our modern lives. Put in two of these because we're kind of moving into our conclusion, so that means I have to stop, think, pause, really get it going. So yes, my human being friend, our modern lives are quite the opposite of what Young Soup claims, and even Squid Games argues the opposite of what the great Korean actor Soo-young believes. Okay, so the Aristotle stuff we have to move it back up to where we had it before. We're at 5 pages, which is about 8 minutes, which is really fabulous. It's about 2 minutes a page, so it's more like 9.5. So Aristotle, we have a conflict, Aristotle. Here we go. Type this right in here. Paste. Aristotle taught us to learn by imitation. That includes learning bad behavior, cruel and insulting to others. Aristotle also suggested a release of tension, a reconciliation of reality against harm. Not only wrong, but unreasonable as an act of dramatic telling. I also used these dashes a lot, because M dashes, because they also help me structure, slow down, find a place to breathe. And I say, sure, that may have been true today, but there is no resolution, only ongoing hatred and yelling and screaming in what becomes a modern life. And then what we already wrote, conflict is what keeps drama alive. Yes, conflict is what. Okay. Conflict does not always have to be negative. Conflict can be a way to bring around good. Okay, that all works. So, this is pretty good for a first draft. May go back to this later and fix it, but we will go fix it. Usually in a couple of days. Then we have our ending quote, which then leads us right into our tagline. Thank you for listening. Be a human being. Oh, it's so good. All right, maybe we'll go back and take one more look at that today, or maybe we won't. But what's coming up next is very exciting. And that thing is this. ASL Colors with Janna Marie. It's next. Stand by for the fun. It's coming up. Hello, and we are back. The lovely Janna Marie is getting ready to join us as I turn off the music. And we begin with our wonderful lesson in American Sign Language with Janna Marie. Baby Kitty. What are we learning today? Yes, I'm fine today, yes. I'm in my office. I'm working. I'm taking a break, a lunch break. Lunchtime ASL, vocabulary words. What are we learning today? Today, we're learning colors. Basic vocabulary, basic colors. Different colors. And hand shapes with the colors. Okay, baby, take it away. Thank you so much. Wonderful lesson. Beautiful colors. We hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Love you, JM. Bye, baby. All right. Oh, here I am in double. Turn off the zoom. Okay. Now we're going to take a very brief break, and we're going to come back at it and do a little bit of writing. I will see you in just a moment.
Keep everything that spills out of the dark locked up behind your lips. It's blooming out of nothing but a thought, like secrets that slowly slip. Shadow in the spotlight, no stars inside. Chasing the daylight. If you don't care, I don't care. We're out after midnight.
Hello again, we are back. Had a wonderful day so far, done a little writing, had a wonderful ASL color tutorial with Janna Marie. Talked a little bit about the Huskers. Talked about this thing. And now we're going to continue our conversation about writing. So as you remember, we wrote this Human Meme podcast script, rewarding obnoxiousness. And now we just let it sit and stew a little bit for the next couple of days. And as I keep scrolling, Birdie25 is now following. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Scared me. I'm not used to that. We don't have a lot of followers, so we're very grateful for everyone who joins us. Okay, so now we are going to discuss what's sort of a complicated idea for many students, but it isn't because you really understand it innately. But we're going to run through this moment by moment. When we tell stories to each other, we have what I call the universal rhythm of storytelling. We know what we want, we know what to expect, we know how we want to feel when the experience is over. That is universal, and I believe it is born into us. And some people have the natural ability to just tell a story. You've met them. They haven't gone to school. They haven't studied dramatic writing. They just know how to engage you and make you laugh and make you cry when they tell you a story. And when you work professionally in entertainment business, writing scripts and stories, there are certain things that have to make sense. And the universal ideal of what all makes it come together is what Aristotle taught us many, many years ago about the Poetics. The Poetics is a book and more of an ideal. Okay, now we know what we're talking about. Now, the Poetics is a very long book, but we boil it down to this. Now, many people believe that the Poetics, which consists of plot, character, thought, diction, music, and spectacle, are a pyramid. And it is not a pyramid. A pyramid with plot on the bottom, then character, then thought, then diction, music, spectacle at the very tippy top. That's been taught for many tens of years in college programs, theatrical programs, writing programs, English programs. And I do not believe that is the case of what Aristotle meant when he was talking about structuring a dramatic story. Because he was about construction, and he was about intention and meaning. And building a pyramid is not dramatic, it's not full of conflict, and it doesn't get you from point A to point B, it just builds on something. Plot, character, thought, diction, music, and spectacle are a process of creation. In dramatic writing, in dramatic storytelling. Everything begins with the plot. The plot is what happens. That's it. It's not complicated. And the plot is where you start. Beginning, middle, end, conflict, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Old stories used to have Shakespearean times 7 acts. Each act is like half an hour, 45 minutes, so you can see 7 hours you're spending a lot of time in the theater. Today, now we have 1, 2, 3 act plays. That's the old structure for the 1950s, because attention spans dwindle and go away. Now we're down to a 2-act structure. First act, second act. And now the 1 act, getting it all out in 90 minutes, so you want to go home. That's fine too. But the plot, if it's 1 act or 7 acts, is all part of that idea of what happens. So character, who is in the play? Very simple. First you start with plot. This happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. And you probably know a couple of characters who you want to have in your play in the structure of your plot. And character, the people in the play, is what makes the plot press forward. They are the ones who are making the active decisions of conflict, of killing, of loving, of going to war, of making peace. The characters are the instrument that the dramatist uses to push the plot forward. Thought is next. And remember, it's not a pyramid, it's a process. So it's a process of creation. You do one thing, then you do another, then you do the next, then you do it all over again, so they all start blending together into one whole piece. What is the thought? That is the most difficult thing that most young amateur dramatists get stuck on. And it's the idea of the play. What is the idea? What is the thought behind it? Not necessarily sending a message, but what is the intention of your play? Is it about child abuse? It is about betrayal? Is it about sex? Is it about race? That is the greater idea. The umbrella of the idea that covers the plot and the characters is the thought. Diction, fancy word for how they speak. Now you know and I know that people in New York speak differently than people in the Midwest. And people in the Midwest have a different speech pattern than those people who live on the West Coast. And also internationally. Diction. Some people speak precisely with periods. And some people just kind of mumble as they mumble. It's important to know how your characters speak, because the way they speak and behave and act differentiates their character in the plot. Music. As you can hear, we have music playing in this live stream. And the music, in this case, if you call this a dramatic telling, is it covers the air conditioner, it covers me taking a pause to think of what I want to say next. It engages, it enlivens. And on the live stage, in television and movies, the sound effects, all of that is music, what you hear. And when I was in school, I remember there was an original one-act play that was being produced. I was very young, and this director was from England. And the show, it was a one-act play, and it was interesting, perhaps a little dry. And to enliven the story, this director had a friend who played the guitar. And he had this friend come on stage, stand just in the corner of the stage. And every once in a while, during this brief one-act play, he would play a little chord or a little tune in the guitar as people were moving or sometimes speaking. And it was magical because that little bit of guitar music live on stage added a special something to the rest of the performance. It wasn't recorded music, it wasn't from the outside, it wasn't electronic, it was live on stage. And a lot of young amateur playwrights and authors, as they're constructing their script, their plot, character, thought, diction, music, they don't think how to inherently include music in the life of the play. And that is the role of the dramatist. The role of the dramatist is to be the first director, producer, costume designer, lighting designer, because the rest of those outside people take their clues from what you have on the page. So don't ever say, as a young or old author, I don't know what color I want that to be. I don't know what song I want. I don't know how I want the scene to look, because I don't make that decision. They make that decision. Well, you make the decision first by putting it on the paper. And they can either add to it or take it away, but if it's on paper first, if it's an inherent part of the script, then it becomes harder for them to change what your vision is in the end. Finally, but this is not the top of the pyramid, this is not in order of importance, because they're all important. This is a process of creation. The last part in the process is spectacle. And spectacle is very difficult to try to inherently include in, especially a live drama script. In a movie, it's easier. Guns, bangs, shootings, flying things. Spectacle is what you see. It's just that simple. Spectacle is a gun going off. Spectacle is how the lights spin, how the set looks. When I was teaching theater in New Jersey, one thing I would always ask my students to do, and many of them had never really seen any sort of play in their entire life, I would say, you live 11 minutes from Broadway. It may be a little expensive, but if you just buy a ticket to any Broadway show, it doesn't have to be a musical, it can be a straight play with no singing, just go. You've seen a couple of things we do here in the theater department, and they've been very good. Now I want you to go see what a professional, staged production looks like. And some of them go, some of them don't go. But I had one student who was going to medical school, who lived a very sheltered life, she told me. Her parents were very protective of her. But as a family, they all decided to go see some big Broadway musical. They had cheap tickets. And the next day she came back, and she was joyful, so much that she had tears in her eyes. And she said, I had no idea what I was missing until I went to see this Broadway show. And the lights and the set and the spectacle of it all made it so enjoyable and important. Now, in the movies, spectacle is kind of put in the place of plot many times. They want to see things blow up. They want cars crashing. They want people falling off cliffs. And that's all great. That's fine, but you cannot start that idea with what are we going to blow up, and then let's figure out how to put it into a plot. The plot needs to tell you what the spectacle is. And maybe the plot needs to change. If you have a big budget and spectacle is important, that's fine. But if you're starting with the idea of what you're going to blow up, your plot will not work. So we have plot, character, thought, diction, music, spectacle. That is the process of creation of a dramatic piece of work. And that is Aristotle's Poetics in a brief form. Now, talking about this in the abstract is a very difficult thing to do because many people don't understand what it means to write a play. They've seen shows, they've seen television shows. I used to teach poetics using Titanic, the movie. Movies are always good for this kind of thing because a lot of people have seen movies, and at that time Titanic was very popular, so everyone had seen it. And movies don't change. From frame 1 to frame 2, it's the same movie, theoretically, from the day it's created until the day you see it. So you have a common touchstone for everyone in a class or in a group to agree on this is what happens in the show. Now, a live show Community theater, Broadway, every show is different. Everything changes. All scripts same, lines are the same. Sometimes the character's a little different. Sometimes the diction's a little off. Sometimes the spectacle is there, not there. A live show has no common touchstone, and that is the beauty of the live show. You're seeing something that is presented to you one time and one time only, because yesterday is different than today, and tomorrow is going to be different than today and yesterday. Oh, here we go. Someone's in chat. One of the reasons they former movies sell tickets is because there are some things you can only see there. Okay. So something happened in chat where it's automatic. My automata is too strict. Sorry. My automata is too strict. Sorry. I'm new here. Find me on Twitter. And let me know how to change things. I don't want you cut off. Turn down Streamlabs setting. Okay, I will find it. I will look for the setting. What is too strict? Oh, I can hear you. Some of our watchers are deaf. No closed captions here, so I text. I get it though. Send. So can you type shorter questions for now? Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I read a lot about, what is it called? Bot spamming. Don't want that. So I read a lot about trying to get things started with bot spamming. I let Streamlabs control my modifications. People are very few will jump through hoops, and Twitch is a spam place. Okay, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. I will fix. I'll fix. I don't know how, but I'll fix it. Okay, so people have seen Titanic, and sometimes you use television shows where people understand that they've all seen, and you can have a conversation, but it's hard to have a conversation about a live show because people are not always seeing the same live show. A Broadway show that is then done on tour or in a community theater can often be different in what happens. So today, to kind of wrap up this idea of Aristotle's Poetics, we're going to apply what we just learned to Squid Game. Now, if you don't know what Squid Game is, it's been on Netflix, I think, since mid-September. I just recently watched it. I had not been involved with it at all, but it's very interesting. It's a series of 9 individual episodes, I guess you'd say, a season of 9 showings. Okay. I have no idea what any of that means. Oh, you should be writing this down. Manual. Nix the 10 minutes. This is the beauty and the ugliness of a live stream. But this is also called live learning. Okay. High, low, specific targets. Specific targets. Manual review. 10-minute follow wait. I don't even know what any of this means. I don't remember setting any of it, but obviously I did somewhere. Okay. All right, so now we'll go back to Squid Game, unless there's more from Birdie to be had and known, and then we'll stop and figure that out too, because I appreciate the help and the correction in live, real time. I wish I knew how to go back and fix it right now, because I would go back and fix it right now. But I have no idea where to go. We had camera problems all morning, you know. So Squid Game is 9 acts, is what I'm going to call it, right? Remember we talked about Act 1 through 7, Shakespearean times. Now it's 1 act, usually. Squid Game is a 9-act play that is broken up into several different segments of an hour each. So it's a 9-hour play. But each hour, each act of those 9 sessions is its own little plot, character, thought, diction, music, spectacle. There's the individual act, episode, and the whole arc, what they call an arc, over the entire season, that finishes what was started in episode 1. 9 finishes 1, 1 finishes 9. Now, there were a couple of episodes that I thought were not very effective, and we're going to talk about this, so if you have not seen Squid Game, stop listening. And stop watching. I'm not going to really reveal anything, but if you just want it to be a pure religious experience for a first-time showing, I might ruin a little bit of that for you. I thought the first episode was very interesting. Second episode was very slow. The final episode, I didn't really quite get. The red hair, I understand he was going to America. He wanted to have red hair and fit in as an American. It didn't make much sense to me. I'm sorry you're getting moderated. I don't really understand. Okay, so plot, character, thought, diction, music, spectacle. We'll use the entire 9-episode arc to have our conversation about this. The plot of Squid Game is, some might say to make money, some might say to talk about greed, corporations. I would say that the plot is more like, I'll write this down. What happens to desperate people who owe a lot of money to others, and how they try to reach control of their lives again. Okay. Okay, Birdie, thanks. So that's the plot of Squid Game. Now, character. Very interesting characters, right? We have the old man. We have the hero. I don't remember their names, but you know the guy who has the red hair at the end. He is the hero, although I think he's more of an anti-hero because he was not a very nice guy and he waited a whole year to keep his promises to his dying friend. The bad guy, we had lots of those, right? The VIPs. Ooh, auto captions. Bad guy was his friend. I don't remember his friend. The friend who went to school. Bad guy friend. Who was really the most interesting character in the entire thing. The other heroes were Ali. I remember him. He was interesting. Heroes. Main guy. Ali. The old man was not a hero. Bad guy friend VIPs. So those are the characters in the show. The three women. Unfortunately, we only had three women. And they all died. They all died, right? All three of them. 3 dead women. Which was a little sad. Although I loved how the woman with the long hair killed her lover by using the rope thing, the tug of war. Bent back, look at the sky. That's how she tipped him over. It was wonderful. The thought. What is the thought of Squid Game? Now, this is very interesting, and we have to invent this because it's not really been told to us directly, because that's not the idea of a thought in this kind of dramatic telling. So the thought of Squid Game is, I will say, your life belongs in your own hands. Because that sort of applies to everybody. It applies to the old man, because at the end he dies and doesn't die, and then he does die. The smart friend who went to school, killed himself, killed a lot of other people, had to be done. Most of us probably would have done the same thing. The 3 women, that's why they were there playing the game. They wanted to get control of their life. They wanted control of their life in their own hands, not in the hands of someone else. Diction. Now this is going to be super interesting because I saw the terrible version of Squid Game on Netflix. I saw the version with the American voiceover actors, and they were all terrible. I much prefer to watch these sort of shows with the original Korean with open captions doing the decoding of what's being said. And because my wife is deaf, we had the captions on, so I could hear the terrible voice acting, and I could read what my wife was saying. And the spoken words were, generally speaking, softer, not as harsh and not as interesting as a script, as diction, as what were being closed captioned. Now, I have since learned that there's some setting on Netflix where you can turn off the voice acting and you can hear the Korean and then you can read the captions. But the way that the voice actors acted the characters were stereotypical. The crazy woman with the long hair with the crazy voice, the old man with the old voice, trying to match a voice, an American voice with a Korean actor, it made the diction really sloppy and very disappointing. So diction, different dialects, we'll say interpretations. Because the old man had a different speech pattern than everybody else in the show. You can see that. Just turn off your ears and just watch the way he speaks and watch the way the other people speak. Watch how the young women speak. Different speeds, different patterns. So that's part of acting, but it's also part of what is written in the script. The music, original music, just wonderful. You could just listen to Squid Game all day with only the music and you'll know exactly what's happening. It's that emotionally effective. Spectacle. Amazing sets. Now, in television, it's different than the live stage. So the spectacle in Squid Game was all the killing, the costumes, the green jogging outfits, the crazy multicolored stuff, the stairs you go up and down. That's spectacle. That beautiful large room they were all in that kept getting smaller by getting bigger. The overhead shots of the island. Spectacle, spectacle, spectacle. It was absolutely a beautiful show. And very inexpensive. The whole thing was $29 million for all 9 episodes. And one episode of The Morning Show on Apple TV is $100 million? If there's going to be a season 2 of Squid Game, and there will be, because now there's money in it. And how many of these old actors are they going to try to bring back who are dead and resurrect them in some way? They will. I don't think the old man is dead, by the way. We think he's dead, but how many times has he been dead? They'll find ways to bring people back. Flashbacks, something. The 2 brothers, they're not dead. They're both coming back. The VIP's coming back. Now, the one problem I had with character in the telling of Squid Game was the VIPs. And amazingly, when the people put the masks on, the closed captions went off. So my wife is sitting there saying, what are they saying? Why did they turn off the captions? The most important part of the story. So I did my best to try to interpret for her, because I could still hear the awful, awful voice acting. And for me, the whole story changed. The whole arc of the plot stopped working when those VIPs entered the game. It changed the tone, it changed the rationale, it took it in a weird sexual place that didn't have anything to do with the rest of the story. And while I always encourage the idea of going somewhere else when you're stuck in a play or you're stuck in a scene and you don't know where to do, introduce a new person, change location, go someplace else, it usually really helps you work to find a different attack. But the VIPs were outside the life, the tone of the overall plot and character of Squid Game. And some might argue, well, that's the whole point of it. They had masks. They were coming in. But all these other people we saw with the masks on, with the triangle, the circle, the square, the lead man, I don't remember what his name is, with the black mask, the brother, they all had masks on. They were all closed captioned. They were all interesting and different in characters. But when the VIPs came in, it was like, where did you come from? You're in the wrong movie. Oh, here we go. Birdie's back. Yeah, I know. She keeps getting she keeps getting moderated. Google Twitch auto captions. I wonder if that was in the original. How odd. I've never watched the show. Watch the show. It's pretty good. Watch Squid Game. It's pretty good. amazing sets, killing, costumes, lighting, candles. I thank you for the clarification. Music sets the tone, decides expectation. Voiceovers. Unfortunately, it was part of the diction because it was just terrible. So it's part of the production. Dialects. Male, female, regionality. Money is everything and nothing. The characters we discussed. 3 dead women, everyone we care about, all dead. Plot. What happens to desperate people who owe a lot of money to others and how they try to reach control of their lives again. Okay. Okay, well, Squid Game is very deadly. And the killing in Squid Game is really, really, really graphic and horrible. And I guess that's the point of it, is you think, what will people do for money? And we find out in that game that people will kill each other for a little bit of money. And that's one of my favorite lines from Fargo. Remember that movie? Joel and Ethan Coen. Where at the end, the sheriff lady's talking to her husband in bed. And she says, we went through all of that. They went through all of that just for a little bit of money. And there was a lot of killing in Fargo. So Squid Game, you got a lot more money and you got a lot more killing. All right. We're almost at 2 hours. We didn't get to play any really bad chess today. I could play a quick little thing of chess if we wanted to, and maybe we should, just so I can show you that I'm not as terrible as I used to be. Well, as I was yesterday on the live stream. I'm going to show you something really fast. Oh, let me put on my wonderful transition. Hello! Now we're back. I've set up Chessable. Chessable.com. I don't make any money off of Chessable.com, and I do not make any money off of Chess.com. In fact, I pay both of them a lot of money. A lot of money for what, you're going to reason? And I have to say I agree with you, because I don't know what I'm spending all my money on. So, on Chessable, you can purchase, many of them are free, but if you purchase a course in chess, you can learn very specific things, and you can be trained how to use these very specific things. And I'll show you how. First, this is my latest purchase, Mastering Endgame Strategy. And on Chessable, in these in the paid versions of the learning, you can purchase video along, so like 15 hours of video teaching along with the text, and the text will train you. I always buy the video because the video is where it happens. The video is where the important stuff happens. And here you can see, I'm not going to play any video because that would be a violation, but you can see how this is set up, where the host, the teacher, Johan Helston, who's really terrific, has 3 new books on Chessable. They're all fantastic. I bought each one the second they were released. Explains to you what you're going to do. And it's really quite lovely. And then there are informational stuff, then you can practice. But we're not going to practice with this because this is very complicated. And I have to redeem myself from what happened yesterday. So I'm going back to my main thing. This is me on Chessable. My profile. And I'm going to do 1,001 deadly checkmates. Now this one doesn't have any video, by the way. And this one is focusing on back rank mates. Now that should mean to me, but usually I forget things, back rank mates mean the back rank where the king is hiding, and you have to go back there, and so that's a clue of what you're supposed to be doing in these. These are not puzzles, these are trainers, but they are puzzles. So I can review moves. See, I've done all of this already, although you wouldn't know that from yesterday. And then you can solve. Now, here's a problem I just set for myself, because this one has to be solved in 4 moves. And when I click on this, it's going to be harrowing because it's timed. So unlike chess.com, where I can sit for hours and look at the daily puzzle and figure out moving here, and I won't get punished for waiting too long, here I will be punished if I wait too long. And I have not always been successful, but I have always tried. So I click on solve, okay? So here we go. What am I playing? I'm playing as white, I think. So I have 4 moves to get this king. And it's a back rank check. Now see, about this time I can start getting very nervous because my time is running out. But I have to do it in 4 moves, so it's not going to be something probably that is immediate. Although it might be. So I'm thinking I need to move this rook here because that's going to be a back right check in some way. So I think I should do it because my time is running out, and then I have this rook protecting that rook. I have this queen attacking that rook, and I remember from the past... that it likes when I sack my queen. I'll try that first. Oh my gosh, it was right. See, I was going to use the rook and go there, but then I remembered in this training lab that it loves for you to sacrifice your queen. Sack your queen. So I just did that. Okay, now I have this queen here attacking this. So I say I'm probably going to need to go there. This bishop is not helping. Back ranks are usually done with checks are usually done with rooks. I have this bishop protecting this rook. This rook protects this rook. This queen is going to attack or protect. So I have to hurry. I'm going to move this here. Hold my breath. Not the right answer. See? I'm just not, what I'm not learning is that these trainings, this mastery, they want you to always, always put the opposite king in danger. So the right move was not this to there, the right move was this to here. And I understand. Right there. In check. I was a little worried that this queen was going to take this rook. You see, since I got it wrong, I have all day to talk about this now because I have to click this next button before the timer starts again. I thought this was going to be my showcase of how much I'd learned. And instead it's turning into just the opposite. Okay, so I think it's going, if I remember right, it's going to make me make the right move next. And then I have to think quick again because then it's going to be my next move and the timer starts all over. So see, it went back. They don't want me to go here to here. They want me to go here to here. That's part of the training. Ugh. Okay, so I put the king in check, the king moved. Now, I think it's very obvious that I do what I wanted to do before, which is this to here. Ah, and the queen goes there. Now what do I do? Aha. I take the queen. I go this way, bing bong. The king is going to take my rook to get out of check. And then do I go here? No, because then the king will take me. Oh, this is not going well. Now, I could move this bishop here, which I like because it's defensive, but you're playing white, so you're supposed to be offensive. Move the bishop here to protect that rook from that queen. And that queen takes the rook. The bishop's here protecting, and then this rook can go down here and do a little bit of mating. So I'm going to try it, but I don't think it's right because it's not proactive enough. Nope, see, they didn't like it. They want me to take the queen. Oh my. Okay. Take the queen. I'm thinking too much. Oh! I finished studying. I learned 4 new moves. I got 120 stars. And it took me 5 minutes. Well, that was just pathetic. I'm not even sure why that was the right answer, because the king could just take the rook. Maybe the bishop was protecting. You know what we can do now? We can go back and overstudy. Oh, that's here. Difficult move, mistakes 2 times. Well done, you studied this than the last day. Well, I sure did, didn't I? But now we're going to overstudy. We're going to do this all over again. Okay, so we remember this to this. Yeah, bing, bang, boom. Then we go here to here. Yeah, boom. Then they want me to go here to here. Bang. Then they go there to there. Ah, okay, so that's why. I go here, rook. King can't take the rook because the bishop's protected. Oh boy. And I think I'm studying chess. How much have I spent on these courses? I don't even want my money back because it's only my fault. It's nobody else's fault. Oh, I doubled my money. I like that. We'll go collect that in a minute. So, I have to redeem myself. We can do one more. White to move. Back rank checks. Here we go. Oh, and knights are getting involved. I get nervous when that happens. So, these are 3 moves instead of 4. I think I should go here to here. That would be taken there. Can't be taken there. So the king will move over here. Oh, maybe that's better. Well, no, because then the king... Yeah, I know. I was going to say... Okay, I'm running out of time. I'll just try this. Oh! See, I I just talked to you about this. I just talked to myself about this. They want you to sacrifice your queen. And I don't want to. Check. Take. Now if I go here to here, check, then the king will take me. So that's not the right answer. So I think it's the knight. The knight needs to go here. Put the king in check because otherwise the rook will be taken. I'll try it. Check! Oh! I got it right! Oh, I can't believe it. Now we go here. Done did. 90 stars, minute 42. Almost perfect. Enough. Now we're gonna go collect our rubies. Rubies are lovely. Rubies are a sort of way of winning things. So this is what that alert was telling me. Is I can gamble 7 rubies, meaning I come and I study for 7 days in a row, and then they give me 7 rubies, and I get my 7 back. I do like the idea. So I click, and now I have double or nothing. Do you think you can keep your streak going for 7 days in a row? Wager 7 rubies here. I say yes, I can. And here's my profile on Chessable. My profile name is very cute, Chessaboles. Right? Made for each other. No followers, following nobody. I'm not antisocial, I just like to be alone. My maximum day streak is 82 days in a row. I've done a lot of studying. Here's my bio. And that's the fun of it all. Some of my courses. Well, that's that. We had a little bit of bad chess. It was bad, but not as really bad as yesterday's was bad. Yesterday was just unforgivable. That was the chess.com puzzle. We didn't do that today. I thought I'd do a little bit better than I did. But this is a process. We're only in Act 1. I will keep trying. I've only been back to studying chess for about 3 months. I have a long way to go. Well, I thank you for joining. We talked about Huskers. We talked about writing the Human Meme podcast. Talked about the Poetics, Squid Game, had a little ASL lesson from Janna Marie, and we finished big with some really bad chess. I thank you so much for joining this live stream. If you want to know more about what we're doing here, please go to bolesbooks.org, and you can see our donation page, our tip page, our merchandise page. There's a lot going on. And if you're looking for private tutoring for your American Sign Language study, you can go to hardcoreasl.com, look around there, send me an email, and I can set you up with a schedule and some private tutoring with your favorite ASL teacher and mine, Janna Marie Sweeney. And that's it for today. I hope to see you bright and early